So there is this idea of drinking turmeric water every single day for these amazing benefits. Now, I'm going to talk about these amazing benefits, but I want you to always put this into context. There are levers that will reduce inflammation, improve your gut health, and lead to longevity that are far beyond just having turmeric tea every single day. That being said, I still think it is something that is useful to have as part of a daily practice for the reasons that I'll state now. But I don't want you to think that this is going to be a cure-all, because turmeric tea, as wonderful as it is not the best thing that you can do to improve longevity, metabolic health, and your brain health. But it is one of those things that is like the icing on the cake of some core strategies that you should be doing every single day to improve your health. Let's go into what turmeric is first of all. So turmeric actually comes from the root of the curcuma longa plant, and it's sort of a family member of ginger. It's a similar sort of root vegetable that again has these incredible properties of being anti-inflammatory and all the other ones that I'll talk about in a second. But its most famous compound is called curcumin. So you'll see a lot of curcumin supplements that are available for sale on Amazon, Jeff Bezos' shop, in health food stores, etc., etc. And that curcumin contributes to its bold yellow color. But curcumin is just one of so many different types of compounds that you find in turmeric. Turmeric contains 50 curcuminoids, such as bisobocuminin, curcumin longin, cyclocurcumin. There's so many different curcuminoids out there. Plus, it also contains essential oils such as turmerone, zingiberine. There's a whole complex matrix of these different compounds, not just curcumin or a selection of curcuminoids, that give these amazing benefits to turmeric and taking turmeric every single day. And just from the outset, some of these are refined or lost if you're just taking a particular turmeric supplement as well. So I'll get to the sort of strategies if you want to lean into some of these benefits of supplementation a little bit later as well. What's interesting, and I think this is very important to put right at the top here, is that there is something called the entourage effect. So these compounds sort of work as a gang, work as a collective to have these benefits. So it's not going to be down to just the one element of turmeric that is leading to these health benefits that we see in clinical studies, which means that using the whole spice or whole turmeric in the form of a powder, or if you can get hold of it, the fresh product itself, may offer more benefits than just curcumin alone. It's been used for centuries as a natural remedy. It's very commonly used in Ayurveda and other traditional medicine practices for the treatment of stomach and liver disorders. But here's what we know about the effects of turmeric on health from modern day science. So the three potential benefits are inflammation, arthritic pain, and for digestion and gut health. Let's start off with inflammation. So inflammation is the root of many chronic health issues. There are a few meta-analyses that are looking at the effects of turmeric or its key compound curcumin on inflammation. Before we talk about inflammation anymore, I do want to emphasize that inflammation is a really important process in your body. It is essentially the way in which your body signals to the immune system that it needs to kick into action. It needs to fight a pathogen or a microbe. Inflammation is so critical and has been so critical to our evolution, because without it, we wouldn't have survived in a hostile world. What happens in modern day living and modern day disease is the inflammation level is inappropriately high, and it sort of simmers away in the background, leading to chronic low-grade inflammation. And that can be foundational to diseases of modern living like type 2 diabetes. Obesity is an inflammation-producing condition. It's also related to dementia, these excessive levels of inflammation. So inflammation isn't bad per se, it's the excess of inflammation that can be the driving force behind diseases of modern living. So this is where supplements like curcumin, but other lifestyle factors can come into play with regards to bringing that inflammation back into balance. So inflammation isn't bad. The excess of inflammation is bad, and there are things that we can do in our day-to-day to reduce it. Going back to turmeric, there was a 2023 meta-analysis that pulled data from 66 randomized controlled trials that looked at adults taking turmeric or turmeric supplements like curcumin supplements versus control groups. And what they found was that inflammation markers tend to trend downward. So we measure inflammation in the blood through a number of different markers. It could be IL-6 or interleukin-6. It could be CRP, ESR. These are all numbers that you find on pretty standard blood reports, with the exception of interleukin. That's usually a research tool. And these are all markers of whether your inflammation is up, down, or at a level that we would expect. When taking turmeric or curcumin supplements, they have been shown to lower several inflammatory markers, including CRP, TNF-alpha, that's another marker, and IL-6, but it doesn't seem to have much impact on other markers like IL-1 beta. These are other markers of inflammation that you don't really need to know that much about. So its effect appears to target specific inflammation pathways, but not generally all of them. The other thing that has been noted in these studies is that antioxidant activity is improved. So it seems to increase total antioxidant capacity and reduces markers of oxidative stress as well, which suggests that turmeric may protect your cells from damage. So as we age, inflammation appears to creep up. We've talked about this on the podcast with a number of different gerontology researchers or aging researchers. And so as a tool to mitigate the inevitable increase in inflammation as we age, turmeric could be part of your strategy, part of your toolkit to sort of bring this very important process back into balance by just protecting your cells from inflammation. And generally, what happens when there's excess inflammation is that cells become sticky, their DNA gets damaged, the recycling of proteins appears to be damaged as well, and this can put us at higher risk of things like type 2 diabetes, dementia, and even cancers as well. Okay, arthritis. So this is probably the most commonly treated condition with turmeric, and this also appears to be where turmeric has its spot to shine. So there was a 2021 review of 10 clinical trials, so not too many clinical trials on people with knee osteoarthritis. So this was just knee osteoarthritis. Remember, you can get osteoarthritis in multiple different joints of your body. Commonly starts in your thumb. That's usually the early warning sign that arthritis is setting in. You can get in your shoulder, you can get in your knee, you can get in the weight-bearing joints, your hip, for example, and even your ankles as well. So this is just looking at people with knee osteoarthritis. And remember, knee osteoarthritis can occur through damage, whether you're a skier or a regular tennis player, or you've had multiple injuries. This is where osteoarthritis can actually set in. So depending on the individual who's suffering with knee osteoarthritis, the mechanism behind how the arthritis actually came to being might also have a bearing on whether turmeric itself is going to help as well. So what pathway that turmeric is actually helping mitigate against. But anyway, these 10 clinical trials with people with knee osteoarthritis, they found that turmeric or curcumin supplements reduced pain and stiffness, so much so that some studies say that it worked as well as non-steroidal anti-inflammatories, also known as NSAIDs, such as ibuprofen or Nurofen. You've probably come across those before. The reason why I think this is really interesting is because we know that prolonged use of non-steroidal anti-inflammatories, something that every GP or family physician, if you're in the States, have used and prescribed probably daily. We know that it comes with a few caveats of long-term use. So short-term use, not so bad as long as you're covering for gastritis, but long-term use, it can be related to blood disorders, it can be related to cardiovascular disease. There are some non-steroidal anti-inflammatories that I used to use when I was practicing 15 years ago that have since been pulled off the market because of the long-term side effects as well. So any chance that we get to reduce medications is a win, in my opinion. And if there is a safe supplemental form that can work as effectively, then this could be something that we have in our medical toolkit instead of NSAIDs, or before we get to NSAIDs themselves. The Arthritis Foundation even recommends one 500 milligram capsule of curcumin extract taken twice daily. So this is something that has become sort of commonplace within traditional, conventional medical practice. This isn't just herbal remedies anymore. So to recap, if you have knee osteoarthritis, turmeric could be helpful. Not necessarily if you have other arthritis, although because of the safety profile of turmeric, as long as you don't have any medications or interactions with turmeric or curcumin, then this could be something that you could also use for that. But the evidence isn't there for other forms of arthritis. Just a quick one. If you want to learn the 5 ingredients that I think are fantastic for inflammation that you should be getting into your diet every week, then download this PDF right now. It's in the link down there, and I'll send you my 5 ingredients for inflammation. And the third thing is digestion and gut health. Now, turmeric provides a lot of promise for digestive issues. And this was, if you remember back to the start of this, the traditional remedy in which turmeric was used, but there's still quite a few gaps which make it hard to draw firm conclusions from. So for inflammatory bowel disease, or IBD, some studies suggest curcumin may ease symptoms, but others found little to no effect. So it's not fully reliable yet. So the evidence is what we call mixed in that respect. In terms of the safety profile, I think this is a safe supplement or product to use in your cooking. So I don't think there would be any harm in adding this to your diet, but the benefits are unproven so far. And on the gut microbiome, so this is your population of microbes that live in and around the body, but largely in the large intestine, full of bacteria, but viruses, nematodes, fungi. There's a whole ecosystem of different microbes out there. Early research hints that turmeric could help diversify the gut microbiome and favorably shift specific bacterial groups, a bit like a prebiotic. So there is this potential of turmeric being uniquely beneficial for your gut bugs. And if you remember anything about longevity or the gut microbes in general, particularly in later years, so after the age of 45, 50, your gut population tends to decline. And anything that we can do to increase diversity and increase the thriving of that population would be a benefit. So again, as a supplement, as the cherry on top, this could be something that you might want to take every single day for those gut beneficial effects. So in short, I would say this isn't a cure-all. There are some amazing benefits, but it is not something that I would say is going to cure or help manage the majority of conditions. It's something that you can add to your other strategies that may have that extra 1, 2, 3% benefit. A lot of things are not completely clear. The studies may not be reliable themselves. A lot of them were small randomized controlled trials, so looking at small trials of individuals. There's obviously a lot of bias as well because they are funded or conducted by companies that actually manufacture the turmeric products themselves, because this isn't something that can be patented. So there isn't the incentive for a pharmaceutical company to come in and do some real rigorous trials. Do we know whether this works in the long term? Is the compliance of taking turmeric supplements every single day, is that high or low? I don't even know. Most studies that I've looked at are short term, so the long-term benefits of turmeric are sort of unproven. And there's also a lot of heterogeneity, so a lot of bundled up mixture of different doses and the forms as well in which turmeric is taken. So because one trial might use a 500 milligram dose and another trial might use 1 gram dose, which dose is the best? What is the minimum threshold for turmeric? It's quite hard to ascertain because of that heterogeneity, the fact that there is no sort of uniformity in the way these trials were actually conducted. Some studies also use powder versus others that use concentrated forms of curcumin extracts. Some others use bio-enhanced forms. So there's a new sort of trend within the wellness industry to create these supplements that are housed in what are called liposomes. So the delivery mechanism of the product that they hold is enhanced potentially by casing them in these fat-soluble molecules that can potentially lead to better absorption in the body. It's hard to say whether those are actually going to lead to a tangible beneficial outcome, but it definitely sounds good on paper, which is why they sell the supplements. My personal opinion of whether a whole turmeric form or a supplement is better really depends on the context in which you are consuming turmeric. So if I am trying to improve my gut microbiome because I'm interested in the beneficial effects of turmeric on my gut microbiome, then I would go whole all day long. So whole turmeric in the form of a powder or fresh turmeric rather than a supplemental form. The reason why is because we know more whole fruits and vegetables have beneficial effects on your microbes than supplemental forms of fruits and vegetables or purified forms of certain polyphenols like quercetin or apigenin. The reason why is because you've got so many different types of microbes, and in a whole turmeric powder, you've got all these different types of curcuminoids. So those are going to be uniquely beneficial for different types of microbes. So the aim of the game is to try and spread bet as much as possible. And you're going to get a lot more spread from the entourage of all those different chemicals that you find in whole turmeric in a powder or fresh form. So that would be my go-to. I'd get those beneficial turmeric breakdown products in the form of a whole spice if I'm interested in microbe effects, in improving my gut microbe through turmeric. There's even research that shows that when you consume turmeric and the microbes munch away on the turmeric, they create metabolites, and those metabolites impact other microbes as well. So the benefits of turmeric may not be by mainlining straight into the bloodstream. The benefits of turmeric may be local to the gut. So you might not want to use a supplement that has better absorption by combining it with black pepper or putting it into a liposomal form and so it goes straight into your bloodstream. The benefits of turmeric may be enhanced by just keeping it in the gut microbiome itself. So actually purifying it and making it more absorbable, maybe taking away from the benefits that we actually want by just keeping it in the gut itself. It sort of acts like a prebiotic to help with the gut microbes in the gut microbiome. Black pepper is something that I mentioned that has potential to improve absorption. So if you're of the opinion that turmeric is going to be having a better effect on my health and my general inflammation by getting straight into the bloodstream, then combining black pepper and turmeric does make it more bioavailable, does make it more absorbable into the bloodstream, and that can enhance the local effect if you're looking for turmeric to impact your knees or your osteoarthritis, then that strategy might be beneficial. So instead of it hanging around the gut where it's having a positive effect in the gut, you want it to hang around in your joints where it can have a beneficial anti-inflammatory effect in your joints. That's the thinking anyway. And again, this is all sort of unproven in terms of strategies because these studies are just so mixed. And these other new supplement forms like the stability that's enhanced by liposomal, I don't think there's enough solid evidence for you to invest your money in those kind of supplements today. Anecdotally, people swear by them. So if you're one of those, great, go for it. But I think the extra spend that you have to go for to get a supplement of that quality and that purification, currently, I don't think there's an evidence base to support that the extra investment. In short, I think they all have their different strengths, whether you're having whole turmeric or fresh turmeric, or you're having it with black pepper, or you're having a purified curcumin supplement. But it really depends on what you're aiming to improve, whether it's your gut, whether it's inflammation levels more generally, or whether it's osteoarthritis. The next obvious question is, how much turmeric should you be consuming to get some of these proposed benefits? And it's a very hard question to answer because whole turmeric has a concentration of curcumin of 3 to 8%, whereas some of these supplemental forms of turmeric have a high concentration of curcumin, as high as 95%. So you're not comparing apples to apples here. My rough guideline is more is not necessarily always better. Turmeric is generally safe when it's consumed in its whole form. About a teaspoon, which is about 3 grams or so, is generally the sweet spot with whole turmeric. But the other sort of supplemental doses, that can be as high as 1.8 grams of curcumin. So that's a whopping high dose of curcumin. And so it's very hard to compare those. When I look at the studies looking at the dosing of supplements, that dosing tends to be around 1.2 to 1.8 grams of curcumin. This appears to be the sweet spot when it comes to inflammation benefits and the potential benefits on arthritis as well. But if you're opting for the whole form for those gut benefits, then a teaspoon of ground turmeric or fresh turmeric is one to go for. My takeaway is I try and use turmeric as much as possible in a culinary sense. So I'm adding it to teas and water, just having that with a bit of cinnamon and some raw honey just to take the edge off a bit, because it can be quite earthy. I'd add it to stews and casseroles. You can add it to bolognese. You can add it to lasagnas even. I know Italians will probably shudder at that. But it really doesn't take on too much of it doesn't affect the flavor too much. And it kind of adds a sort of golden element to it that you can't really tell if you're mixing it in with tomatoes. You can even add it to overnight oats and things like that, or obviously your lattes. So there are loads of ways in which you can just subtly increase turmeric in your diet. But the big levers for inflammation, the big levers, is going to be overall diet quality, introducing more fruits and vegetables into your diet, making sure that your diet is generally rich in polyphenols, of which herbs and spices can be part of that strategy, but I wouldn't rely on just one supplement or one ingredient like turmeric for those anti-inflammatory benefits, because that can be very, very easily outweighed by a poor diet. And exercise is probably the best dose of anti-inflammatory medicine that you can encourage yourself to do. 30 minutes to 40 minutes every single day of cardiovascular exercise and resistance training twice a week. These are the best longevity strategies to reduce inflammation in the long run. So turmeric would be at the top of the pyramid. It would be like a tiny piece of the puzzle, but the real base is going to be fruits and vegetables, high polyphenol diet, getting those antioxidants in, and ensuring that you're exercising every single day. These are going to be giving you the big levers on inflammation and those amazing benefits that are also in turmeric, but in much lower dose, much lower quantities. You're going to get a lot of that from the foundational benefits of exercise and diet. I hope you enjoyed this. Let me know if I've missed out on the other benefits of turmeric. Let me know in the comments. If you want to learn about the benefits of berries and how they can improve your memory, improve your heart health, and lower inflammation, click this video here. I've done a full deep dive into everything you need to know about berries.